Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Snowbeck. Today we are going to do Unit 3, Lesson 4. It's all about the Pythagorean Theorem. The Pythagorean Theorem can only be used when you have a right triangle. Remember, a right triangle is when you have a 90-degree angle in one corner of the triangle. Now the longest side of the triangle is going to be across from the 90-degree angle, and that longest side is called the hypotenuse. The other two sides are called legs, and they are not the same length usually, but they are shorter than the hypotenuse. The Pythagorean theorem says this: in a right triangle, the sum of the squares of the lengths of the legs is equal to the square of the length of the hypotenuse. If you look at our picture here, we have side A, side B, and side C, and side C is the hypotenuse. So if I do a squared plus b squared, it will equal c squared. Number 1, find the missing side length. Well, again, we're going to do a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But the c squared has to be the hypotenuse. It does not matter which one of the legs is a and which one is b. So for our purposes, we can do 12 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared, and we can call this c. C is the longest side, it's the hypotenuse, and it's across from the 90-degree angle. 12 squared is 144, 12 times 12. 5 squared is 25. If you add those together, you get 169 equals c squared. But we don't want c squared, we want just plain c. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take the square root of that. But whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. The square root of c squared is c. The square root and the square are like opposites of each other and they cancel each other out. You're going to probably need a calculator for some of these problems, and you're going to have to type in the square root of 169. You should get 13. Now, if you're not sure how to do a square root on your calculator, usually you have to type in second and then the x squared button, because above the x squared button, you're going to have a little square root symbol. Then you would type in 169, and then you would type in equals. So go ahead and try that. Make sure you're able to type it into your calculator and make sure you get 13. Great. Will you please pause the video and try number 2? When you're done, unpause the video to see if you got it right. In this case, the two legs are the 10 and the 24, so they can be your A and your B. So you can do 10 squared plus 24 squared equals c squared. You get 100. And then 24 squared, if you type it in your calculator, I believe is 576. Add that together, you get 676. And now we have to take the square root. We don't want c squared, so we do square root, and the square root of 676 should be 26. This one is slightly different. Notice this time we're given the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is your 10. That has to be your c. So maybe what we should do is call this missing side x. Then we can do 6 squared plus x squared equals 10 squared. Notice the 10 is in the c spot. The hypotenuse always has to go in the c spot. So 6 squared is 36. X squared we don't know. 10 squared is 100. Now you're going to try to solve this. Minus the 36. X squared ends up being 64. We don't want x squared, so we have to square root that, and we get x equals 8. And so the missing side is 8. Please pause the video and try number 4. When you're done, unpause the video. So again, the c is the 73. So I'm going to do 48 squared plus x squared equals 73 squared. If you want to use a different letter like B, that's fine. So I just typed in my calculator 48 squared and I get 2304. And then I have plus x squared, and now I have to type in 73 squared. So I'm going to do that quick. And I get 5329, 5,329. All right, minus 2304. We get x squared equals, I'm going to type this in, 3025. And then remember, we have to get rid of the square root. And so I'm going to take the square root of each side. And the square root of 3025 is a nice number. It's 55. So this missing side would have been 55 inches. And it makes sense. It should be smaller than the 73. Caleb is locked out of his house with the only open window on the second floor, 14 feet above the ground. He needs to borrow a ladder from his neighbor. If he must place the ladder 4 feet from the house to avoid some bushes, what length of ladder does Caleb need? So, might not look like it, but this is the bush down here. I'm coloring it green. And so he's got to place the ladder so that he doesn't smash the bush. His mom would be mad about that. And so, as you can see here, it kind of looks like a right triangle. Let me outline it in red right over here. This right in here is a right triangle. And the right corner would be down here by the bush. And so the ladder is the hypotenuse, or the C. So the 14 and the 4 are your A and your B. It doesn't matter which one goes first. You can do 14 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. We get 196 plus 16 equals C squared. And then I think it's 212 equals C squared. I'm going to type that in my calculator. And when I take the square root, I get 14.56 equals C. So for the ladder, I need a ladder that's at least 14.56 feet. So, I mean, would it work to have a 14-foot ladder? Probably. I would just have to reach up to get to the window. Would it work to have a 20-foot ladder? Maybe. I would just have to like step off the side of the ladder. So I would say the ladder needs to be more than 14 feet. But probably less than 20 feet. So that is the Pythagorean theorem. Would you guys please give Unit 3 Practice 4 a try? If you have questions, send me a Schoology message, and have a great day.